We're talking about changes to the 737 MAX, a fleet that has been grounded for more than 2 weeks now. When you look at these changes, these are primarily software related. We're not going to get too wonky here, but this is essentially what Boeing will be changing relative to the flight control operations within the plane and what the pilots see in the cockpit. First of all, the plane will now be receiving input from 2 angle of attack sensors. Those are the sensors that tell the pilot if the plane is going to be stalling, going into a pitch that's too high. If those sensors disagree by more than 5.5 degrees, the MCAS system, that's the system that pushes the nose of the 737 MAX down, it will be disabled. There is also going to be an indicator light in the flight control panel for the pilots. That previously was something that airlines would have to pay extra for. That will now be offered standard free of charge to airlines. All along, the crew will maintain control, so they can disable the MCAS software. They can also take control of the plane if there seems to be some issues there. In addition, Boeing is also going to be enhancing 737 MAX pilot training. They outlined that for us today. Here's the Vice President of Boeing talking about the importance of making these changes public as they push for getting the grounding lifted.
We're working with customers and regulators around the world to restore faith in our industry and also to reaffirm our commitment to safety and to earning the trust of the flying public.
Question is whether or not these changes will earn the trust of investors. Citi out with a note today reiterating its buy rating on shares of Boeing. And guys, essentially what Citi said in this note today is, look, this could take another 6 to 12 weeks for the FAA to sign off on these fixes and then ultimately lift the grounding by recertifying these planes. And then you've got to have the foreign regulators do it. But they're not likely to lose many orders, according to Citi. And that's why they're saying, look, as much as Boeing is in the headlines now, it ultimately will fly out of this. Guys, back to you.
Phil, let me ask you a question that you may or may not know the answer to. Some of the stories earlier this week indicated that the pilots of, I believe it was the Lion Air jet, had a very short window in which to correct the problem. Do these fixes then, can they be effectuated within that kind of short window? Are they easier to do and perform in a crisis?
It's another layer of enhanced alerts and safety and hopefully disabling that MCAS system. So while we don't know for sure, Tyler, what would happen, we do know that there were pilots over the weekend and there are pilots today out here at Boeing's facilities who are testing out these software changes, and they're running through the scenarios that the pilots of the Lion Air crash were believed to have faced. In other words, okay, if you were faced with these same questions, these same challenges, how would you respond? How would the system respond? And would the pilots be able to make these corrections quick enough?
Right.
And is it easy enough for them to understand?